Hey, it's Tyson, and this week I am back with another Saturday episode, and I'm going to be talking about tips for establishing KPIs. Those are key performance indicators for those of you that don't know what KPIs mean. They're an extremely useful tool for measuring and driving success for your firm and for really any company. I was listening to a podcast the other day with Jeff Bezos, and he was talking about KPIs. The largest companies use them. The smallest companies should be using them. They're really, really important. Um, Before I get to this episode, though, just as a reminder, if you are interested in joining the guild, go to maxlawguild.com. It's a wonderful community of amazing attorneys where they share, their just best advice, best tips, collaboration, and it's just amazing group of people. We have quarterly events where like we're going to be in Arizona soon. We'll be in Scottsdale. We're in Miami last year. We'll be in Vegas coming up. There's just a lot of cool places, just a lot of great people. And so if you're interested, go to maxwellguild.com. Would love to have you. But let's get into the show, and we're going to talk some more about KPIs. So we just went through and we had our leadership meeting last week where we were talking a little bit about revising the KPIs, and we went through all of them and created new scorecards for everyone. Well, not new scorecards, but we edited the scorecards that we had for everyone. And I figured this would be a really good episode to talk about KPIs because it's something that you do have to give it some thought, and it's not the easiest thing in the world. It's a really challenging thing, but it's something that once you have it's a tool that allows you to make sure everyone's rowing in the same direction and that everyone is rowing just as hard as everyone else. And that maybe it's something that's really, really challenging to get just right. And, we by no means have it just right, but it's something that we're constantly working on, and we're striving to make sure that we're getting better at it. But let me give you some of the tips for getting KPIs in place. So here we go. They're something that they're really going to help you align your team members, the actions that they're doing to the overall objectives of the firm. So number one, make sure that you tailor the KPIs to the individual roles. Each position in your firm. So it's not like you can just take a KPI and just slap it on everybody. It just doesn't work that way. Each position in your firm, it's going to have its own set of unique KPIs because each role has its own unique purpose, right? A case manager role is going to be completely different than a receptionist role. You've got different objectives for those positions, so you got to make sure that the KPIs help reflect that. Okay. So for example, a case manager's KPIs might focus more on, okay, how do we make sure that the cases are moving forward? We're getting the progress, but we're also having clients that are happy, that want to refer us cases. Okay. Compare that to, let's say, a receptionist, right? The receptionist role is to make sure that, they're the voice of the firm, that when people call, they're getting questions answered or they're getting routed to the right place and they're not missing phone calls. They're completely different objectives. So one of the KPIs for our case managers is a certain number of file reviews that they have to do every single week. And that's to make sure that the files are moving forward. And as part of the file review, they have to make sure that the client has been communicated with. And when they do the file review, they're supposed to update the client as well. There's a lot that goes with it. So that is one of the KPIs. You've got to do so many of those a week. When it comes to a receptionist, one of the KPIs is the average call time. Okay. You don't want the receptionist on the phone for a really long time. She needs to get that call to the right person, routed to the right person. And if you have them on the phone too long, that means that you're probably not getting them to the right people in a timely fashion. Okay. So that's just a couple examples of the KPIs that we have. We have, I'll get to this in a little bit, but you want to kind of limit it to 3. You don't want to go any more than 3. Some of ours have 2. Some of our people have 1. Many have 3, but you don't want to do it. You don't want to have more than 3. But all right, the next tip is you're going to want to make sure you're balancing, aspirational and achievable KPIs, and that's something that can be tough because you want people really, hitting the ball out of the park, but you have to also make sure that it's reasonable. If you set KPIs that are just never going to be achieved, people won't take them seriously and they'll get discouraged and they're not going to want to work for you. Okay, that's a big problem. So you got to make sure that that they can actually attain these KPIs because they're going to be rated on these. Okay, as a part of your job scorecards, this is how they're going to be evaluated on a regular basis. And if your team consistently hits their targets without effort, though, you're going to have to raise the bar because if they're always hitting it, it's just too easy. You need to push them a little bit more. But you're going to be aiming for that continual growth. That way you don't have that complacency. And that's obviously the opposite of those unattainable goals, because if you do that, they're just going to get discouraged and it's going to really demoralize them. So you don't want them to disengage. So invest that effort in finding the balance that you need, and it's going to take some time. You're not going to get it right the first time, most likely. It's going to take some time for you to really figure out what that balance is. Third tip is consider, perception and motivation. Understand how team members, they're going to perceive their roles and their contributions to the firm. The KPIs, they should not only reflect their responsibilities, but they should also resonate with that with each team member and that in each position. That way they can value the work that they're doing. Make sure that you're having some KPIs that really do get to the core values of the firm, the values of the individual, and that way you've got this alignment that boosts motivation and also job satisfaction. So take that into consideration as well. Tip number 4, regular reviews and then adjustments. Okay, so KPIs are not this thing that you just set it and forget it and that they're always there. It's not like a core value. Okay, core value, those are going to be set in stone. You're not going to be changing those. Those are going to be there forever. KPIs are going to change. Okay, they're probably going to change. I wouldn't say regularly, but they are going to be things that are going to change. So regularly review them in the context of both the individual performance and then also the firm's evolving needs. I talked about Jeff Bezos, but Jeff Bezos talks about making sure that you don't have these KPIs that people are using for years and years, and there have been several people that have changed over time, and by the time that 10 years after that KPI is created, no one knows why it freaking exists, right? You don't want that to happen. So you're because sometimes the KPIs aren't necessary anymore. What was necessary 10 years ago is no longer necessary. Your firm's probably completely different. So make sure that you are constantly, I would say at least yearly, looking at your firm needs and see if the KPIs fit those firm needs. That's a really, really important part of this. And then the last tip I want to get to is just clear communication and support. Whenever you are introducing these KPIs, you're going to want to make sure that you're communicating clearly why you're using the KPIs, why they're important, how they contribute to the firm's success. Having this communication to the team instead of just dumping them on them and saying, do these things, it's going to go a long way to get buy-in. And that's one of the things that's going to be the most challenging part of this too, is getting that buy-in. And I can tell you, you're going to have some people that are not going to like it. I'm just going to tell you, we went through the whole top grading changeover, and many of the employees that don't like accountability, they really struggle with KPIs. So just keep that in mind. You're gonna get a lot of, well, I like the way things used to be. Too bad. Okay, you're gonna have to get past that, and they're gonna have to get past that. It's something that's going to be necessary for your firm to grow, to take you to that next level. And it's also going to be very rewarding for you and for the employees, because they're going to see the progress that you and the firm are going to make over time. All right, that's enough with KPIs for now. As a reminder, if you have something you want me to cover on the Saturday episode, shoot me a text. Just text me at 314-501-9260. I would love to hear from you. Until next week, remember that consistent action is the blueprint that turns your goals into reality. Take care.